Well, I've actually got a signal from the base station now. I mean, this is crazy, guys. See if we can place a call. Hello? Hello? Welcome back to the channel, guys. Hope everyone's doing well. If you've been watching the channel lately, you'll know that recently in my last video I've been messing around with these little Motorola digital cordless phones. Now these run on the Dect standard, so basically it's just a cordless phone effectively, but this particular Motorola one has a bit of a difference because they actually sort of tout it as being a long range cordless phone. So they say up to kilometre range with something like this. So when I saw these, I was quite interested. I was like, oh, hang on a minute, this is, you know, with the radio stuff that I'm doing, I'm always interested in testing out and having experiments with different frequencies, all this sort of thing. So yeah, I grabbed a couple, and in the last video we had some experiments. We've done some experiments to see what the range was like using the standard setups. So in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to try some different antennas. Obviously you've seen we can just, you know, put a different antenna on the top of this one. So unfortunately the base station itself, you can't upgrade the antennas. This is actually the front panel of the base station. I've now ripped it apart as everything, you know, comes into this place, gets pulled to pieces and probably never gets put back together again. But basically, yeah, you see these dummy antennas on the top. The actual antennas are on the circuit board of the base station. So what we're going to do today is fit an external antenna onto the base station to see if we can improve the range of this cordless telephone system, because I think it's pretty cool. A system that doesn't use the internet, doesn't use a landline. You can have a couple of phones dotted around in a local area, and you can have a completely, almost private kind of little communication system with pretty minimal gear. A quick little note about privacy. Actually, the Dect system has been hacked, so you can use SDR tools to decode Dect cordless phone transmissions. That could be a topic for another video. And combined with something like this, the Hack RF1, you could actually have some interesting experiments with cordless stuff. So, on to business then. This is the antenna that I've got that we're going to try and fit to the base station. So this is a base station antenna, omnidirectional. It covers the frequency bands that Dect needs, which is around 1900 megahertz. So this is a multi-band antenna, and they say it's got 10 to 12 dBi gain. So what does that mean exactly? Well, imagine you've got like a beach ball. I haven't got a beach ball in here. And you would push a pencil or pen into the middle of the beach ball. The pen is the antenna. Now, the radiation pattern of a normal antenna, like a vertical antenna, is going to be the beach ball. So it's kind of like a big, you know, sphere around the center of this antenna. Now, what gain does is basically just squashes that beach ball and forces it out further. So it's effectively kind of focusing the RF energy. So if you want to force your signal down to the horizon, then use something high gain, and it will actually kind of push the signal, attempt to push the signal out further. So that's the theory. We're going to test it out. The first thing we got to work out is how to fit this thing to the base station router. Look, it's got some cables on it. It's designed for like a router, so it has these kind of SMA connectors on the bottom. And if we take a look at our dismembered base station for this system that works with these, you can see that it's got kind of like a vertical, well, this one was actually, I've bent that around actually, but basically there's two antennas on here. These are for diversity. One is normally pointed that way, and that's so the system can switch between either antennas depending on what's getting the better signal, because of course the phone might be pointing that way on a desk, or it might be upright, one or the other. But the good thing is there are two antennas on this board, and we have actually got two connectors on this antenna as well. So I'm thinking it probably works in a similar way to this, where it'll have like a horizontal and a vertical sort of radiation setup inside this stubby looking casing. Right, so taking a close look at our little base station circuit board, there's the RF module there, which does most of the heavy lifting for the RF stuff. You've got LED on here. I've removed some of the other connectors on here to make it a little bit easier. So yeah, you can see the antennas here, pretty simple. You've got some sort of switch in here to switch between the two antennas, which is obviously, you know, decided and controlled by this module. So what I'm going to do is just remove these, just desolder these, desolder that ground plane and that one, and obviously on this side as well. And then I'm going to take the wires from our antenna, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to cut these wires right down short. Now, why would you want to do that? Basically, this cable is not great for these frequencies. It's gonna lose most of the signal in these cables because they're so small and so thin. They're really, really lossy, and we're talking about milliwatts here. being outputted from this little base station, and obviously signal strength coming in from it from the handsets. Incredibly weak amount of power. So we need to basically just not have as much of this cable, almost like nothing, because on this board you see these antennas are connected directly to the board. There's no long wires or pigtails going to any antenna, so the shorter this can be, the better. There we go, so I've snipped them nice and short. And now strip these wires back as well. The coax is actually really good quality. It's decent quality stuff. So, you know, even though it's thin, it is actually pretty good on this particular one. It's proper copper. So now we need to find the 2 places on the board, or 4 places on the board we need to connect all this stuff to. Basically that centre connector of one part of the coax goes to this one here, and the other one goes to this one here, and then the 2 braids will go to the ground point. You can see the ground part here. It's basically the ground for the entire board, which is connected to, you know, these radials. So yeah, so just need to desolder all these. Need a nice hot iron. Just sort of lift these out with tweezers. The grounds will be more difficult because you're actually heating up the entire ground part of the board, but no, it's not too bad. I'll just flip that over now and just come from the other side. Just remove that one and that one as well. Just looking at them, they're all connected to the same place, apart from obviously the, you know, the main antenna one you can see there. So I can go ahead and take the other ones off as well. Should be a bit easier, this one. Cool, so the antennas are now removed. So next what we've got to do is obviously connect this antenna to this board. So what we're saying is this centre part of the coax here needs to go to here on the board, and then the ground part, that bit there, needs to go to the ground on the board, and the same the other side. So I'm going to do a bit of jiggery pokery and try and get these to sit in the right places. It's going to be fiddly, but you know, all this stuff is. I'm using this tin lead solder as well, this 6337. It's amazing stuff. So it's going to lightly tin the end of this cable here. Not too much heat, because obviously the plastic shield might melt as well. So you've got to be very careful. See how nicely that flows. And I'm going to get this one soldered down. There you go, see it there. You see that most of the force is going to be on this big thick bit. So, you know, that's the bit that's going to be holding it kind of mechanic. I might put a tie wrap around there actually. Through, is that a hole? No, it's not. Yeah, it is a hole. Because these pads could come off the board if you put a lot of strain on it. So it's important to take some strain relief measures in there. But that's on there. You know, it's all looking okay to me. Right, so I've done it, guys. You see I've got my 2 cable ties here as well for the strain relief. And then I've actually put a piece of insulating tape underneath here, because there was a couple of components a bit close to that shield. So yeah, I'm just kind of, you know, taking precautions there. But yeah, the other side's looking pretty good. And we're good to go. I mean, this is pretty much kind of ready, so need to get this up somewhere high and we can do some tests. Right, so here's the setup. Remember this mast from the other radio videos I've done. This is about 10 meters, this mast. It's telescopic, and it just basically, you know, can put it up yourself. And then I've got the antenna right on the top with the base station at the bottom, just dangling down. Definitely not a permanent setup, but once we get this up 10 meters, I've got high hopes for this setup. Right, it's testing time. You excited?
Yeah. Yeah. Woo, woo.
Right, so I know roughly where it was cutting out before, so I'm going to give her a call. Turn a call 1. It's ringing.
You've just given me and the cat a heart attack.
Oh, was it?
Really loud.
Was it really loud? Right, mate. Right. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I think I did turn the volume right up.
I was literally like, my head was next to the coffee table because I was just doing something on the floor and it rang right in my ear.
Right, well I've got more signal now. Right, mate. I've got more signal here, so I'm just about to get run over. Yeah, I've got more signal here than I did have the first test we did.
Okay.
So I'm heading up the top. Right up. Code word ridge.
Do I get to have a safe word?
Safe word? What's that? If you need to abandon?
Do I need a safe word?
What, if you need to abandon comms?
Yeah.
Just hang up, probably. That's what everybody else does.
Okay. It's going to be a bit more covert than that.
So how's it doing? Signal okay? Is it sound okay?
Yeah.
Sounds good. I've got you on hands free because I'm trying to ride the bike as well at the same time. So,
I can hear the bike.
huh?
I can hear the bike.
You can hear the bike. It's crazy. The quality is really good. So there's no way I would have been able to have gone this far. I mean, I don't know how far this is, but it's probably, I don't know, probably like 300-400 metres away.
Where are you?
I'm basically up by your old house. Right up the... Yeah, okay, so at this point, I'm quite a long way away. It's still saying still got 2 signal bars. Yeah, I'm guessing probably like 300 metres. So yeah, but like Halley's Ridge, Helen.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Right at the top. So I'm going to cut across and I'm going to go down the sort of alleyway in between all the houses, and see if, like, you know, it still maintains a connection. So I'm basically heading through onto that back bit, you know, the back alleyway.
Yeah.
Still saying 2 bars. You're still lovely and clear. The brakes on this thing ain't good. I'll tell you that. They need some new pads on it.
Yeah, no, I think that's silly.
Yeah, right, I'm still going, still round the back. So I'm just going to kind of come back on myself, but down the alley, and then go down to the main, like to the old road.
Yeah.
Still got a, I mean, has it sounded like it's got blocked out at all, or?
No, I can feel hearing you. I think having like
Oh, this is getting a bit sketchy. I've got no brakes on that side. Right. Can you hear that? Right, I think you're cracking up a little bit.
I can hear you, but I don't know where you're watered, and it's looking right next to you now, so you're probably going to be as near as you could be.
Yeah, that's the trouble, isn't it? Right,
I can still hear you, like, really well.
yeah, okay, cool. Is that any better? I'll try and talk a bit closer to it. Yeah, that's the thing, because I'm trying to sort of ride the bike as well at the same time.
Yeah, no, it's good.
So yeah, it's still connected. Still got 2 signal bars. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, there's no way it would have done this before. I think it just about literally made it like 100 metres down the road.
So you're down on the bottom road?
Yeah, I'm down on the bottom road now, just literally going onto the bottom road now. It's going to get a bit noisy by the road, so I might have to put it up to my head in a minute. Sounding okay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We'll carry on going. So I'm sort of coming back now, sort of towards the roundabout at the bottom.
Oh yeah.
And we'll just see how it goes.
You're going to go over the road?
I'm going to go over the road to like Hartingfordbury, and we'll see exactly how far it gets down to there, because I know at the church it actually works. Well, it did last time it worked at the church, because you sort of come back up. Blimey, the road is absolutely packed. I might have to I'm gonna have to turn you off of hands-free. Hang on. Right, I'm off of hands-free now. Is that any better? Alright, she's actually cut out now, so I am gonna have to cross this road in a sec, but let's try calling her back anyway. Still got a signal from the base station, which is absolutely phenomenal. It's ringing. I think it's cut off now because of maybe my head was too close to the antenna. It's actually lost signal from the base station now. Well, I've actually got a signal from the base station now. I mean, this is crazy, guys. See if we can place a call.
Hello.
Well, I'm in Hartingfordbury now.
Okay.
So I'm going to carry on going down towards the pub.
Yeah.
And see. Right, it just dropped the call there. So we are getting the signal down there, but it's pretty weak. I mean, this is like, oh, she's back. Okay, yeah. Well, I'm just about to cause a major traffic incident. But can you still hear me? Okay, it's actually holding a connection. It's phenomenal how this is kind of like dropping and picking it back up again. But once I get to the top of here, I'll go into the churchyard and I'll try and make another little call from here and see. It's crazy this, honestly, guys. I'm like so impressed by what's actually happening right now. You know, it might not seem impressive if you don't really understand this stuff, but right, here we go. Right, how's that sounding?
Yeah, really clear.
Right, I'm at the church. Okay. So I'm in the church grounds at the moment, which is pretty cool. So that's a good distance away, isn't it?
Yeah, like I say, when you're when you're still, I can hear you really clear, but when you're going along.
Yeah, interesting. So it's kind of like dropping it. It can't sort of maintain the call, which is what you'd expect, because it's a bit like, how to explain it, like when you're with a radio, you know, when it sort of goes shh, 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 shh. But because this is digital, it's either there or it's not, so you'll get like, you won't get that whooshing sound, you'll just literally get like a on and off kind of thing.
Kind of what it was.
Yeah, but that's perfectly clear now, like literally, you know, perfect communications. Yeah, pretty cool, eh? Right, I'm going to carry on going, and I'll give you another ring. Well, I'll stay on, and I'm presuming it's going to cut off, but you never know. It will definitely cut off as I go down the hill, but let's just see how far it gets. Still there? Yeah, no, it's dropped the call completely. Right, I've actually got a connection up here now. Let's see if we can actually place let's turn around, see if we can place a voice call from up here. Doesn't look like we can do that. It's just dropping. Okay. Try to get a little bit of height by going into this area. What am I doing with my life? All in the name of science, guys. Right, I have picked up the base station. No, it's just dropping the call from up here. It just won't connect from up here. So, okay, right, we'll abandon this one. Right, got a signal from the base station, so let's try and do a call. Should be wondering where I am. Hey, right. So yeah, I did go up to the really far away place up on the hill, but it just wasn't having any of it. How's it sounding up here? All right? Yeah, sounding good. Oh, I think it's at its limit. Let's go down here. Okay, so out of network coverage. It's a bit like having a real cell phone, isn't it? Yeah, I'm going to come back via the park.
Okay, alright then.
I'll try you again in a minute.
Okay.
So, it's the next day now. The GoPro cut out and I lost a load of footage. I was really annoyed last night. The final tests didn't actually make it out. But you get the gist from it. We're getting about 0.5 of a kilometre range reliably, you know, around a radius. And it's pretty good. I'm really impressed actually. For these frequencies and this sort of power level and this system, like that's really good. I mean, any radio person will probably agree with me. That's not bad going. To be able to go to the edge of the estate and then, you know, down, around, through the, you know, kind of little nooks and crannies, where you've got trees either side, lots of leaves, lots of fences, houses in the way. You know, it's not great for radio at these high frequencies. And then down onto the old road, across the dual carriageway, into Hartingford down below there, being able to maintain any sort of, you know, conversation as you're going along, you know, is pretty impressive. And coming up the top, back up to the church, obviously that's quite a good line of sight to this location. So yeah, that's good. I don't know why it wasn't getting a mile, because that again is line of sight. I think we might have just hit the limits of power with these things. No amount of gain is going to kind of solve the power problem where, you know, these handsets don't put out a lot of power, and I'm dubious about this antenna as well, like this long range antenna. I don't think it's that great. So we're going to try changing these next and see what will happen. I've got a new high gain antenna. Look at that, it looks like some sort of satellite phone now. So this is high gain on here, so you'd have high gain on here, high gain on the base station. That's the best you're going to get it, so we'll see what happens there. So guys, I hope you found this interesting. It's fascinating, this stuff, to me, because the fact that you could just kind of deploy, you know, your own little network where you could have like a bunch of handsets in an area, cover, you know, a kilometre or even more. You know, if you had less obstacles, it would definitely go a lot further. And don't forget, if the base station's in the middle and one radio's here and one radio's there, that distance is doubled, because obviously, you know, the base station's in the middle relaying the communications. So if you wanted to set up something for like an emergency, something where there's no cell coverage, and it doesn't have to cost a fortune. These radios are like 100 quid for the set and the base station, and then like 20 quid for the antenna on Amazon. I'll leave the link below. I mean, you know, that is a pretty good cost-effective communication solution. You just got to get busy with a soldering iron. Anyway guys, hope you've enjoyed this one. I'll catch you in the next one, and we'll do some more tests with these bad boys.